bring their ass here and start building them desks and stuff in America, because he's gonna make America great again. Let's go, Donald Trump.
Politics like that?
Nope.
It's not good for the country. Who does that? Yeah, your team got an offense and a defense. They're not supposed to be enemies. The enemy is the other side.
Thanks.
Never talk about it. I'm not that controversial.
Steve Harvey just stepped into the hottest spotlight he never wanted, because the moment Katt Williams opened his mouth on that Club Shay Shay interview, the whole culture knew something explosive was coming. This wasn't a joke, wasn't a comedy moment, and wasn't some harmless shade. This was Katt Williams calling out a man the industry treats like royalty, and he did it with the type of calm fire that hits way harder than shouting.
President Trump was accommodating. I'm gonna give the man this. The man was very congenial. As we
just show me what he's done for black people so I can understand, because right now I don't.
All right, go on and collect.
Kamala Harris for president.
Katt didn't warm up or dance around the topic. He went straight at Steve Harvey's entire legacy.
Same Steve that went to go watch Mark Curry do his whole sitcom and then stole everything Mark Curry had. Now Steve got a sitcom where he the principal and he making all black men think he got the best lineup in the business, and it's a man unit. People, he used to be homeless. That's my story. That's not his story. Steve Harvey wasn't never homeless. When 25 years ago, he was making $3,000 a show in cash and doing 5 shows a week. They just tell
the image, the titles, the clean smile, the motivational speeches, and the so-called king of comedy crown. When Katt said, you can't call yourself a king of comedy when your whole career is built on stealing from other comedians, the room went still, like someone pulled the oxygen out the air. And from that moment on, it wasn't just a comment.
Kamala Harris and the Democratic plantation is paying you celebrities, paying you to shame black people into voting. Y'all know we not going to get.
It became the spark that turned the internet into a full-on cultural courtroom. To really understand why Katt's words landed so heavy, you got to know the history behind the man he aimed at. Steve Harvey didn't start as this polished, suit-wearing TV figure the world sees today. He used to present himself as a man who crawled from the bottom, living in a car, grinding from show to show, fighting through poverty with nothing but jokes and prayer. But Katt said that story wasn't real, that Steve wasn't homeless when he claimed he was, and that undermined the inspirational foundation Steve built his fame on.
Here in this country, Donald Trump is not going to be that bad. Don't run.
People online started digging instantly, pulling up old interviews, comparing timelines, realizing certain things didn't match. That's when fans started saying the same thing. If the core story is shaky, what else is? Then the Mark Curry allegations resurfaced. Years ago, Mark Curry, famous from hanging with Mr. Cooper, said Steve Harvey used his work, his ideas, even his sitcom style. According to Curry, he looked at the Steve Harvey show one day and recognized stuff straight out of his own routines. Back then, folks brushed it off as comedy beef. But now, with Katt repeating the same claims, it hit different, especially because Katt wasn't angry. He was exposing patterns. He said Steve didn't rise through originality. He rose through strategy, through connections, and through moves behind the curtain that nobody talked about. And that took the whole situation from a dispute to something deeper.
This is sad. We've never been here before. Be a movie star. There are 30,000 new scripts in Hollywood every year. Not one of them asks for a country bumpkin black dude that can't talk good over KB and look like Mr. Potato. Ever been at the point where neither option is good for us in real life?
No.
This is a different conversation. This is, would you rather go back with your ex or would you rather go back?
Katt didn't stop there. He dragged politics into the mix too, quoting moments where Steve praised certain leaders or downplayed harm that affected the very community he claimed to uplift. Katt said, politics like that, nope, is not good for the country. Who does that? And that line made people look at Steve with fresh eyes.
Ain't for sale. We bartering on business. We standing on business. Bring us some tangibles or get out of my face. Only carried on because y'all got paid to carry on. Can we please?
Suddenly, the polished speeches didn't hit the same. The friendly tone started looking manufactured, like a script instead of a soul. And once the public starts questioning authenticity, it's a storm no celebrity wants. The internet exploded instantly. Memes, clips, breakdowns, and comment sections filled with people demanding answers. Fans who once adored Steve began questioning everything they ever believed about him. And that shock energy is exactly what pushed this scandal into the biggest conversation in comedy right now. When Katt Williams started pulling receipts from the Kings of Comedy era, the culture felt a shift, like an old wound reopening. Katt said that Bernie Mac, rest in peace, was the real king of comedy. The one who didn't need Hollywood approval, didn't need fake smiles, didn't need the suits and spotlights to validate him. Bernie was loved because he was genuine, raw, and didn't bend for industry pressure. Katt suggested Hollywood didn't want Bernie as the face, so they pushed Steve forward because he was easier to shape, easier to package, easier to sell. That claim hit the public hard because fans always felt Bernie deserved more respect and recognition while he was here. And now Katt's words made people wonder if something political played out behind the scenes. His next point made the temperature rise even more. Katt said Steve slid right into the king role after Bernie passed, like the throne was waiting for him. People online started sharing clips of Bernie and Steve together, pointing out small moments of tension that suddenly looked suspicious in hindsight. Even D.L. Hewley once hinted about creative differences on tour, but Katt made the differences sound way bigger than creativity. More like morality, respect, and loyalty issues that never got resolved. Then Katt exposed something deeper, Steve's nice guy act being a persona instead of a personality. Katt pointed out how Steve used religion to frame himself as a mentor or spiritual voice, but behind the scenes, he reportedly operated with a whole different energy. Katt brought up those staff emails where Steve allegedly told his team, "Don't talk to me, don't approach me, don't look at me." That does not match the daytime TV uncle the world thinks he is. It shook fans who never even imagined Steve treating his own crew like that. Katt kept the heat going by calling out how Hollywood rewards the polished act over the real ones. He said Steve wasn't representing the struggle anymore. He was representing Hollywood's version of success, the type that's clean, safe, and marketable. Katt said, "Steve ain't one of us anymore. He's a brand." And that single line echoed across the internet like a siren. Because once people start seeing a celebrity as a brand instead of a person, the magic disappears. Social media turned into a forensic lab overnight. Fans pulled old clips where Steve made slick comments about other comedians, and suddenly those jokes didn't feel playful. They felt competitive and shady. People dug up Monique's interview where she claimed Steve told her, "It's not about integrity, it's about the money game." Back then, it felt like gossip. Now it felt like a puzzle piece snapping perfectly into place. And the wildest part, Katt didn't sound emotional. He sounded disappointed, like he watched someone he once respected cross too many lines. That tone made the public feel like this wasn't beef. It was truth wrapped in frustration. And that pushed this scandal into a whole new level of chaos. Once the interview went viral, the internet flipped into a full investigation mode, breaking down Steve Harvey's entire career. People started comparing the motivational speeches he gives on TV to the actions Katt and other comedians accused him of. Suddenly, the inspirational lines didn't feel inspiring anymore. They started feeling like scripted performances. Clips were circulating everywhere. Fans wrote posts saying things like, "How can someone preach integrity while moving sideways behind the curtain?" That shift in energy was instant and heavy. Fans pointed out moments where Steve spoke boldly about controversial topics and injected himself into political debates. Katt brought up Steve's alignment with certain leaders, repeating quotes where Steve defended public figures and minimized their impact. Katt said, "President Trump was accommodating. I'm going to give the man this. The man was very congenial." Hearing Steve say stuff like that made fans question his sincerity about community struggles. Then Katt added, "Show me what he's done for black people so I can understand, because right now I don't." That line hit the internet like a hammer because it reflected everything people were already debating. Suddenly, Steve's connection to politics became part of the scandal too. Katt hinted that celebrities were being used to influence public opinion without fully understanding what they were supporting. Katt said, "Kamala Harris and the Democratic plantation is paying you celebrities, paying you to shame black people into voting." When he said that, the internet lost it. People were shocked he went that direct, but they also felt he might be exposing conversations nobody openly talks about. The idea that celebrities were being paid to influence voters made fans look at Steve's political statements with fresh suspicion. Then Katt attacked Steve's credibility in comedy acting. He dragged Steve's movie roles and even made a slick line about Hollywood scripts not asking for a country-bumping black dude that can't talk good. Katt wasn't clowning the way he usually does on stage. He was pointing out how Steve took roles that benefited Hollywood stereotypes, not the community he claimed to speak for. Fans reacted instantly, saying Steve always picked roles that made him look safe, gentle, or neutral instead of roles that challenged Hollywood narratives. Katt also brought up how Steve's rise came at the expense of others. He painted a picture of a man who climbed ladders by stepping on the people who trusted him, and fans didn't ignore that. Some said it explained why so many comedians seemed distant from Steve in later years. Clips of tense interviews, uncomfortable interactions, and strange moments on set flooded social media timelines. Then came the biggest turning point, Steve's reaction, or better said, lack of a reaction. Steve didn't jump online to defend himself. He didn't go on his talk show to address it. He didn't even tweet something vague like he normally does during controversy. That silence made fans think he didn't know how to respond without making things worse. And when a public figure stays silent during the biggest scandal aimed at them, the crowd always assumes the worst. At this point, even Hollywood insiders started whispering that Steve wasn't as untouchable as he used to be. Everything he built suddenly felt shaky. Behind the scenes, the fallout from Katt's interview was shaking up Hollywood like a small earthquake. Producers, networks, and sponsors were reportedly monitoring the situation closely because Steve Harvey's brand was built on being lovable, positive, and trustworthy. Once the public starts doubting that image, every business connected to him feels the pressure. Executives didn't want to gamble their network reputation on someone the internet was dragging non-stop. People online compared him to other talk show stars who got exposed for having toxic behind-the-scenes behavior, and that comparison alone made networks nervous. Meanwhile, fans were working overtime pulling every clip they could find. Old stage interactions, old radio moments, old side comments, all of it was resurfacing. The moment Katt exposed Steve's alleged habit of copying jokes, fans dug up videos where comedians hinted about it years ago. Comments turned into full debates. Some said Steve earned his title the hard way, but others insisted he finessed his way up by borrowing ideas and presenting them as his own. And that made the scandal feel even bigger, like a crack spreading across an expensive mirror. The tension got worse when fans connected Katt's claims to Monique's story again. That moment returned like a ghost from the past. When she said Steve cared about money more than integrity, people dismissed it as another Hollywood disagreement. But now it sounded like she was telling the truth the whole time. People started posting that clip everywhere, saying Steve exposed himself years before Katt ever did. And the internet treated that moment like a validation stamp. Then came the growing belief that Steve had been playing a character for years. People started saying his motivational speeches felt more like performances designed to charm viewers instead of true life lessons. Fans noted how often he mentioned God and positivity in public, but his behind-the-scenes conduct painted a different story. Katt pointed that out directly by saying Steve used charm and religion as shields. That accusation alone dismantled half of Steve's public image, because once viewers believe your positivity is an act, the entire brand collapses. Steve's quiet reaction fueled even more speculation. Hollywood insiders said he was furious, calling emergency meetings and pushing his team to figure out a strategy. But the issue wasn't about a simple PR fix, it was about the public losing trust. Once trust fades, even the biggest stars struggle to rebuild it, and the internet has no mercy when it senses a celebrity's brand is cracking. All the while, Katt Williams stayed calm and unbothered. He didn't backtrack, didn't apologize, didn't clarify anything. His silence after speaking made the exposure feel even stronger. People respected the fact he said what he said and didn't hide from it. And that contrast, Katt calm, Steve scrambling, became part of the narrative. The scandal wasn't just a moment anymore. It had turned into a full cultural discussion about authenticity, legacy, and Hollywood's hidden politics. By the time days passed, the narrative around Steve Harvey changed completely. This wasn't the cheerful host people watched every morning. The man behind the smiles now looked like someone who built an empire on a carefully managed image. Fans online wrote that Steve had been playing two characters, the on-camera motivational mentor and the behind-the-scenes Hollywood businessman. Katt's interview didn't just expose contradictions, it forced people to reevaluate everything they thought they knew about him. And once that seed of doubt gets planted, it grows fast. Fans started saying that Steve's success story felt rewritten, like a Hollywood version of a real struggle instead of an actual journey. The idea that he may have borrowed other comedians' shine to build his own spotlight made the public question whether his rise was built on talent or strategy. And strategy isn't inspiring, it's calculated. That realization changed how people saw his speeches, his books, and even his advice shows. Then the internet started highlighting how Steve positioned himself as a leader for relationships, morality, and self-improvement. But Katt made people question how someone can teach loyalty and honesty if the path they took wasn't clean. Clips of Steve criticizing guests or belittling certain viewpoints resurfaced, and fans replayed them with new eyes, noticing attitudes they once ignored. Now everything felt intentional, not accidental. Katt's line, "How can you teach morals when your whole career been built on taking from others," kept circulating across TikTok and Instagram. It became the defining quote of the scandal, the one that summarized the whole conflict in 12 words. That single sentence hit like a cultural echo because people felt it represented something bigger than Steve Harvey. It represented the system itself. In comedy circles, the energy shifted too. Younger comedians started speaking up, saying Katt exposed a dynamic they always felt but never talked about. The idea that Hollywood promotes the safest, most controllable faces over the ones who come with truth and edge. Steve symbolized the polished image, while Katt symbolized the raw truth. And this scandal made that contrast unavoidable. Across social media, fans began treating Katt like the unexpected voice of the people. They said he said what many comedians were too scared to say publicly. And the timing made it even more powerful because people are tired of fake positivity, fake morality, and celebrities pretending to be perfect. The culture is shifting toward realness, and Katt's interview became a moment that pushed that shift forward. Meanwhile, Steve Harvey's silence became its own scandal. The longer he stayed quiet, the more people assumed he didn't have a real defense. Some said he knew responding would only make things worse. Others said he was waiting for the storm to pass. But this wasn't the type of storm that fades quickly. This was the type that rewrites how viewers see a celebrity forever. Now the whole world is watching to see whether Steve will address Katt's words, try to rebuild his image, or simply hope the noise dies down. But one thing is clear, this scandal changed everything. And for those who want to follow every twist, every update, and every new piece of fallout, make sure you like, subscribe, and stay locked in because this story is nowhere near done.